Welcome, everybody, to Picks and Bones. Hope everybody's doing great out there listening tonight. We're sitting down with Steve Idlett from the Briars. They're a Texas-based red dirt Americana, just country rock and roll band that kicks absolute ass. So, without much further ado, let's jump on into this and welcome Steve to the show. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good, man.
That's awesome. And what part of Texas are you coming from?
Central Texas. We're about an hour or so from Waco.
Okay.
But
And
kind of Middle East, Central East Texas, I guess, you know.
Still hot. It's like
hot.
Everywhere in the South is hot right now.
Super hot, yeah.
Yeah, we were like 95 today with like
Yeah?
85% humidity. I'm like, yeah. We're going to die. I'm like, tomorrow's October 1st, and it should not still be in the 90s.
Yeah.
For
pretty warm out
sure.
there.
Yeah. Well, kind of tell everybody about, what type of music you're playing and, what your role in the band is and kind of, introduce about the band.
Sure. Yeah, we play kind of Texas country, Americana, rock-up blues, something like that, Southern groove, folk rock kind of thing, Play a little bit of everything, and but I guess Americana kind of fits all that right now.
Right.
And we've been playing for a few years, and we play all across Texas, and we're pretty steady, and we played yesterday with a band called Shiny Ribs. I don't know if y'all know those guys or not, but
I don't, but I can definitely check them out.
you need to. They are something to watch. If you haven't heard of Shiny Ribs, you need to get it on. They are something. 8-piece band.
Wow, that's huge.
Some kind of Bagger Vance golf outfit from 1920s and just killed it out there in front of everybody. It was awesome.
That sounds pretty awesome. So it sounds like
great.
they've got a heck of a stage show then.
Yeah, it's the Shiny Ribs in the Tijuana train wrecks. They got a horn section, and they got two doo-wop girls that just stand there and dance and go ooh-wop, 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 Pretty awesome.
That's not something you hear or see anymore, really.
No, it's not.
So man, I'm looking forward to checking those guys out for sure now. Thanks for dropping those guys down.
Yeah, you need to check them out.
So how'd you get into music?
I played bass guitar back in the band because I think we just needed a band credit when we were in junior high or whatever it was, and I didn't want to play trumpet or something, so I played the bass guitar. And then after a little while longer, you can only do so much with the bass by yourself, like in 8th grade.
Yeah.
You're not a virtuoso bass player necessarily, so I picked up an acoustic and kind of went from there and just started learning a bunch of covers and taught myself chords and stuff like that. And over the years, just kept playing, and eventually started a band, and same as everybody else, just start playing and wanting to get out there. We've been playing, like I said, about 5 years now. And we play all over the state of Texas 3-4 nights a week for most of that time period. And it's a steady thing.
Well, I've got to ask, what kind of music was your first band?
Cover music, basically. That was it. Basically anything from 1971 to 2010 or whatever. You know what I mean? Anything in there that fit and seemed like people might like it, we played it. So
Okay, so you weren't just doing like country or rock and roll. You were just doing whatever.
I mean, we played like
here.
Oh yeah, we played a 13-minute rap song. We play
That's awesome.
James Taylor, Steve Miller, whatever, Marshall Tucker Band, whatever people were into, or like, we played a lot of dive bars and a lot of like people just playing pool and stuff, whatever they like to hear, Leonard Skinner.
Of course. Everybody wants to hear Skinner. And,
Sure.
I'm from Greenville, South Carolina area. So Marshall Tucker is like the home band, because they're from here. So every band that does a cover in this state is going to do an Alabama song because of the Bowery down in Myrtle Beach, or they're going to do a Marshall Tucker song. It's kind of they have to. There's no choice in the matter. It's like, this is what you got to play.
Yeah.
So like like one song goes, if you're going to play in Texas, you better have a fiddle in the band.
Yeah. We don't have a fiddle yet, and but we've been looking into it. Maybe a steel guitar player or something like that. We had a mandolin player set in the other day, which is basically a fiddle.
Yeah, it is.
And,
I love it. I love a good mandolin.
I don't know if I can cuss or not, but he kicks butt.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
I don't censor anybody. So with what you guys are doing right now, you got any new albums in the works or anything?
Yeah, we're trying to release. I'm about to release a Christmas song in December.
Okay.
And it's called "Christmas Time in Texas," and it's just a single. I wrote it last year, and I wrote it like a day before Christmas, and I was pretty mad because I only had a day to play it.
Yeah.
It's like I had to retire it a day later. So I've just been playing it anyways at all my shows and stuff. I say, I know it's not Christmas, but I only write like, so many songs a year, so I'm going to play them. But yeah, so it sounds more of a country song than it does a Christmas song, I guess. But I went to a place in Huntsville, Texas, and recorded it over there. So I'm about to release that, and then we're going to release a single at the beginning of the year, and then I plan on making another little 5-song EP sometime, right after that.
Okay, well, let me ask you this: when you are sitting down writing songs, what is your process? Because everybody's got a different one.
Yeah, that's it's hard to answer because it's different. It's not necessarily I have some people I heard like Drew Kennedy and stuff. He says he gets up every morning and writes 10 minutes and it doesn't, no matter what, and he's real regimented and he starts his like free writing and all this stuff, and that's his job, But me, I never really came at this business from a songwriter's perspective at first. So I kind of always played guitar and stuff like that. So I'll sit down and start playing guitar and find some kind of melody and find something I kind of like with the chords I'm playing or something like that, and then go from there and try to find something. And then usually the song will kind of not necessarily write itself, but it'll start, filling in the blank. Yeah. And then also sometimes you're just driving down the road and you get something stuck in your head and you're like, oh man, that's a cool turn of phrase, and then put it in your voice recorder and in your phone and then go back to it later and try to figure something out with it,
Watching the sun go down while I'm coming up. I'm trying to keep my eyes open wide, but they keep slamming shut. I'm feeling kind of fuzzy now, and I feel in a room.
Yeah, I'm married to a poet, so I know. And those little, she's like, okay, this hit me. Write this down real quick, and then remind me where you put it later. I'm going to use that.
At least you write it down, because sometimes I'll be like, I can easily remember that. That's the best phrase I've ever heard in my head. I'll remember that, and then like next day I'll be like, what was I thinking? No, I can't remember that. It's
and then
gone
you're just
forever.
like, damn it.
Should have wrote it down.
Should have wrote it down.
And then it'll pop back in my head another couple of days later, but yeah.
And I talked to so many different artists from all over, and everybody's got a different process. The only person that has ever kind of blown me away with it was Jackson Taylor from Jackson Taylor and the Sinners. He's like, I don't ever sit down to write a song; it just happens. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. I've never heard anybody just say that. Nope, there's no process to it. He sits down to record it, and that's what comes out. It just comes out right there on the fly. And I'm like, man, I know people that would kill to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I have songs that sometimes do that. They come out in the amount of time that it takes to sing the song, you might be able to get the song out, like 6 minutes, and you're writing the whole song or something. And then some of them I've been going back to for a year and a half now, and they're not done, because I'm like, well, I'll come back to that and finish it, or you just kind of lose inspiration on it. So I've never been the one who can just sit down and just spit out gold, I guess.
I've never heard anybody be able to do that before. I mean, I've got a lot of. I mean, I've played and sang for years myself, and I was never a songwriter anyway. I could give images. I could give little snippets of words and images to kind of contribute, but it's harder than people think it is.
Yeah. I know some songwriters. I mean, I know some damn good songwriters who will just make your jaw drop to the floor, and blow you away. But, and they spend a lot of time worrying about that stuff, I think, sometimes, and fixing it and going over those things and really manicuring those songs. And you can tell someone who really does that, or someone who really has that talent, who can just, maybe like Jackson, who can just spit them out like that, But
yeah,
there's so many of these people around Texas that are just unknown songwriters who are amazing, that you're just like, what? How are you doing this? It's just crazy sometimes.
And that is why I have this show.
Exactly right.
Is because I want to celebrate. I mean, yeah, I've gotten some bigger names on, but I want to celebrate independence. I want to celebrate the folks that, not everybody knows who they are, but they should know who these people are, because they are putting out so much amazing stuff. Because just in my history, I've met some pretty well-known singer-songwriters that, yeah, they've had people go on to record their stuff and, have blown it away, number one to, on all the charts. But then you go hear them play it, and it's a totally different beast, and it's like 1,000 times better than whoever recorded it.
I know exactly that. Isn't that crazy? You hear it that first way for so long, and everybody that you hear it that way, and you think it's that way, and then you hear the original guy who wrote it, play it, and you're just like, this doesn't sound anything like the original, or the one you've been hearing, or what you got in your head for it.
It's like listening to a Townes Van Zandt and then somebody else that recorded it. There's it's two different beasts altogether, but it's still the same song, but there's just so much soul that stays retained in the creator, I guess, if that makes sense.
You know who Bruce Robinson is?
I don't.
Charlie Robinson. I don't know if you know.
Okay, now Charlie, yes, I do. I love that guy.
He's Charlie's brother.
Okay.
Bruce Robinson. And he wrote some George Strait cuts, and he wrote some stuff that Tim McGraw cut. And like there's a song called Wrapped. I'm wrapped around your pretty little finger again, or whatever. It's a George Strait song.
Yeah.
And I've heard it my whole life, and I really, I like George Strait and all that, but I never really got into it. And then I played a show the other day with Bruce, and every third song that he played, he's like, yeah, I wrote this song and back in this day or whatever. And it's like, oh, that's a George Strait song, or oh, that's a Tim McGraw song or whatever. But you're hearing it from Bruce, and it's really cool. And it was different than those other songs. And he had his own spin on them, and it was really cool.
And I love that, because you're stripping it down to what it was intended to be. Which, as a singer songwriter yourself, you do. I'm sure you do that with your stuff as well.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
If you do covers, how do you make them yours?
We played covers for so long. One thing about covers that I started, I guess resenting or something, was all the ones like the common covers that everybody hits you with, like the the Wagon Wheels and the Tennessee Whiskies now and stuff like that. Like they hit every show, and they're great songs and stuff for a while. But after like the 1,000th time of playing them in a row, you kind of get burned on them, So you find different covers. I started finding like just unique covers or just some stuff that I don't hear much people playing. Like we play a Fleetwood Mac song, Dreams, and I play harmonica and a ukulele on it, and we kind of really changed it up a bit. And we run harmony with it, and it's all guys doing the harmony. It doesn't sound anything like Stevie Nicks, but it's a cool thing, cool way we do that. And you just kind of I think you just make them your own. We did covers for so long that now we're finally getting some venues where people want to hear original music, and we're really excited about that. So that's what we've been focusing on. But we've got covers for days in our pockets.
Yeah, as everybody kind of does.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the folks, you're kind of in the red dirt scene then, right?
Yeah.
Kind of explain to people, because I've got a buddy of mine that's from North Carolina that he's on the charts in Texas. Corey Hunt. I don't know if you've ever heard him, but people won't listen here because there's such a distinguished difference between Texas red dirt country and kind of everybody else, even though everybody's trying to go towards that now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It's like there's a bunch of subsects of country, and Americana and Texas country, and I don't know what y'all listen to over there necessarily, or what is it? Mainly Nashville pop country that y'all hear, or do y'all have kind of an independent music scene?
We've got a huge independent music scene, and more so, people are getting away. You still have the diehards that are listening to whatever's on pop country radio.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those.
Not. Yeah.
That's not my thing. I'm going to go more for, I'm going to take that hard left and go, I'm going to choose Dallas more over listening to that. Or, I'm going to go Charlie Robinson, or God, there's a litany, Ian No, some of these guys that are, and I really love Brass Tacks out of Oregon. Those guys are amazing. If you haven't heard them, check them out too. They're great. But it's like North Carolina is developing a red dirt kind of a following. They're trying to get to be more like what you guys play, and that vein where, and I think the biggest difference is the storytelling. Because it seems to me I'm just generalizing when I say this is the red dirt country stuff. It tells more of a story, and it's a rich life story. It's not I got drunk and fell off the back of my pickup truck, chasing some little girl, which seems to be the thread for so many, these other artists and everything. But then when, you hear somebody like you guys don't, that's not what you guys sound like at all.
Right. There's that vein or whatever you're talking about. It's a little bit more weathered, and it's not as it's definitely not as polished. And I understand what you're saying, and I agree, and that's why I gravitate towards it also, because I like that kind of stuff. I don't really necessarily like pop radio or any of that stuff. I think it's a little bit polished. Whenever I was a kid, I always like I used to like Ryan Adams singing on this one song that he had, and his voice used to break on it, and I used to think that's weird that he would leave that in there, but. And I just loved how unrefined it was or whatever. And now there's nothing like that on radio now.
There's really not. So who are you? Well, you brought up Ryan Adams. Who are some of your influences?
Throughout, I really like Jerry Jeff Walker and Todd Snyder and Jason Isbell right now. I've just been listening to a lot of the storyteller kind of guys. The guys who captivate you. before that, I used to really listen to a lot of the rockier stuff. Whiskey Myers. There was a band called Uncle Lucius that we used to follow around quite a bit.
I know both of those.
Yeah, and you know, just kind of that kind of stuff. And I grew up in the '90s and kind of listened to, you know, Kenny Wayne Shepherd and Pearl Jam and all that kind of stuff. And then that translated over into country music somehow. And then now we kind of play like some kind of rocky bluesy country music thing, you know. And you're right, most of it's story driven and or something like that, you know, and it has some kind of dialogue to it.
See, I dig that because to me, it makes it a much better song and a lot more enriching when you're getting something out of it, because that's something that, and I'll throw this question at you and then we can expound on it once I throw it out there. What does music today mean to you?
It's like a tough question, you know, because I mean, to me right now, it means a lot because it's my livelihood in a way. And I'm trying to pursue this nonstop as a business and grow this thing and go. So music is a huge part of my life. It's nonstop. And I listen to music nonstop and I get out of it. Sometimes I'll get to where, you know, I listen to podcasts and I won't even listen to music, you know, and then sometimes I'll find a new guy and I'll just go down a wormhole forever, you know, but, it means a lot of different stuff for a lot of people, but, that's a tough question, I guess. What about you?
I think, and this is something that I've had the same conversation, you know, and it's not just on the podcast, which I mean, we've had it on there, but just my musician friends that I just hang out with, that music is the one thing that kind of brings everybody together. There's, you know, it doesn't matter. I can't say that I've ever met anybody that doesn't like music. And I think if I did, I would think there was something wrong with them.
Your guy, yeah. What do you mean you don't like?
Yeah. What do you mean you don't like music? So you don't like breathing?
Right.
Because, you know, there's not a society in the world that doesn't have their own form of music. And music is transcendent. I mean, it's going to make you feel something. I mean, it's like if you were a poet, you want your words to be able to make somebody feel something, whether you're pissing them off because you said something that was really hard to take, or you break their heart and they're, you know, in the first couple of bars of a song, it triggers that emotion.
Right.
And I think that's where music has kind of come back to. Because I don't know. Have you watched that documentary Country on the Ken Burns thing?
Not yet.
We watched it, and my wife and I finished it up the other day, and I actually posted it on Facebook. I'm like, okay, we just finished watching this, and if your face doesn't leak at least 4 or 5 times during this, then you have no soul or love for the genre.
Yeah, I'm excited about checking it out. My Facebook was lit up for the whole series or whatever, just going, oh my God, today was this, and I'm really excited about checking it out.
And the one that Jack White did was actually phenomenal too, American Epic, where he kind of he brought it all in a shorter time span. Because he is such a unique individual himself and dives into so many different genres personally. He went into how blues tied into this, and then how, you know, where we are at today because of all this.
Right.
And I
mean,
mean,
he's a mastermind too.
Yeah. And I mean, because he covered country, he covered blues, I mean, I don't think he left jazz. He didn't leave anything, no stone unturned. But how we wouldn't have today what we have without all these predecessors.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I know you guys don't have the whole Appalachian, because I mean that's still huge up here. Is you can still hear, down home back corner bluegrass. Just about within a stone's throw of wherever you're at here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, I mean, that's a whole nother rabbit hole we won't go down tonight.
One time we played in Bryan, and this woman was outside with us, and she said, "What kind of music do you play?" And she was from South Carolina, and I said, "What kind of music do you want to hear?" And she said, "Beach music." And I said, What is beach music? And then she berated me for like 20 minutes about how I didn't know the Carousels or somebody like that, and all these people, like she named me about 100 beach music bands that I guess I'm not privy to, and introduced me to a whole genre of beach music that y'all listen to over there, I guess, huh?
That y'all is a tiny, tiny, tiny.
She had an adorable accent, but she's like, beach music.
Oh, of course. They all do, and they put it on thick when they get outside of South Carolina to make themselves even cuter. But no, beach music is a very tiny, even though I think, what is it, beach music is our state music. And I know, like, the shag is our state dance.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, honestly, that's more of that 60 to 80 group of people. I mean, I don't know anybody my age or younger that is really into beach music. But
yeah,
I mean, there's a place for everything. I'm not knocking it. So anybody listening to the show, if you really are into beach music, I'm glad you love and support music, and I'm glad you're listening to support some country too while we're talking.
Hilarious. But yeah, that's funny. Like you said a while ago, like about it, music bringing people together and stuff, and that lady being a good example of it. It's funny the amount of people that I've ran into in the last 5 or 6 years playing music, and the people that I would not know, and this, that my best friends and stuff that I have now that I wouldn't know. I would never even know these people, and the amount of random people you meet at these bars and venues and festivals and stuff that you play, and they're from all walks of life, and they're all there just for the exact same reason. You'll meet a doctor, you'll meet a gang member, you'll meet a lawyer, and then they're all there, and they're all got their head bobbing to the same beat, and it's pretty cool.
And I love that. Let me ask you something else about the music scene out there, because this is something that I've been observing, and I ask everybody about this. Are you finding the other bands other than you and what you're doing, is everybody really supportive of one another?
Yeah.
Or is
absolutely.
it still kind of cutthroat? Because I know, there was a number of years that everybody was like, nah, we're better than them. But it seems like, whether I'm talking to somebody out of Detroit or Ohio or Oregon or the Carolinas, everybody, it's like there's this whole thing where everybody wants everybody to succeed. And as long as you're getting to play your stuff and people are digging it, everybody's going to support you.
Right. We've all talked about this. Me and my buddies have talked about this a few times. And I feel like the late 80s maybe and stuff like that, especially around Texas playing these bars and stuff, I feel like they didn't like each other, like some of these old bands. And I've heard stories from some of these older guys who go like, no, we don't. That guy was in that band. It's like almost like a gang or something, They didn't like each other back then, And but no, like now this is more like a fraternity. Like as soon as I meet another guy who's like, hey, I'm a musician, we're on the show together. Like as soon as we meet, usually we're all buddies, and I hope they succeed, and hopefully they feel the same way about me. I mean, sure, people get tied down with jealousy and stuff like that sometimes, but I think for the most part, everybody's trying to just kind of focus on their own thing and hoping everybody else around them succeeds too,
And I love that. And I mean, I know, the music scene around here back in the 80s and everything was a little more, they suck. You don't want to hire them.
Yeah, there's all that, yeah.
And it's just like nowadays, it's like, hey, if you're going to book me, you need to really book these guys too, because they're going to put on a great show. I'm not trying to tell you that ours isn't going to be great, but you want it to be even better, you need to bring these guys in as well.
I wouldn't have got any of my shows. Like for the first couple years, all those shows that I got were from other friends who were already established in the business who were playing at this bar. So hey, let me come open for you for free. I go over there and play this place, and then I'd meet the manager, the bar, bar owner or whatever was there, and I'd get their contact information, and I'd lock down a date with them right after that, And so without that fraternity kind of stuff, I don't know that I would have made it. And another thing, I don't know how people made it before social media. Like I couldn't.
No.
I don't know how they found what bars to play and what to do and go.
I guess they sat down with like an old phone book and just started going through the yellow pages and were calling people. And that's not something I've even thought about because, I mean, back when I was playing and everything was word of mouth. Hey, I told so-and-so about you, so come by, play a couple of songs, and they'll either book you or they won't.
Right.
But social media has kind of made, like you said, you could find any bar, just about any bar in any state, and be like, let's just throw a dart and, okay, hey, I'd like to play there. Why not? So you reach out, and you can send them music. You're not having to be there in person. Say,
right.
Hey, go listen to me on Spotify or, iTunes.
Or here's this cell phone video. I got gigs off of cell phone videos. I mean, hey, look, here's what I can do. I don't have a produced video. I'm not on Spotify yet. Like, if you're out there and you're trying to book some gigs, get on Facebook. Look at the bars where they're hosting live music. See who's booking that music. Contact them. Show them that you can play music. It's not hard, but in the 90s and stuff, I think about that sometimes and I go like, man, you got to send like an actual press kit in the mail to somebody in Idaho or whatever, and hopefully they pick it up and want you to come there and they mail you back or whatever the heck happens, a month later.
It didn't just get tossed into the pile with all the other hundreds that they're getting.
Yeah.
When you had to do headshots and, a full write-up about you and the band and listing your songs and sending them a CD.
We still got to do that. It's electronic, and they still want a lot of that stuff, actually, it seems like. But it's a lot easier to link than it is to put all that stuff in a manila envelope and send it across the world.
Well, and I think so much, a lot of it I know with promotion and everything, you ask everybody, I always ask everybody, hey, shoot me over a couple of photos that, you want to use for a promo, because I'll try to do a midweek promo before, when the shows come out on Fridays. And then I feature, the folks' music. But one of the other things is, I do a dedicated Spotify playlist to anybody that's come on my show.
Right.
And my show's mainly Americana, country, outlaw, everything else like that. But I mean, I've had blues players on. I've had, rock, and I've had sci-fi hip hop was who I had on last week. And, it's just, I just love music. So, I try to celebrate everybody.
Cool.
Well, let's jump into some bare bones.
Okay.
Since you kind of get to be a guinea pig for some new questions tonight.
Okay. Let's go.
I'm
horrible at this. I'm like questions, really.
These are fairly easy. One would, if you could sit down and have dinner with somebody, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh, living or dead? I gotta find someone dead.
I have a follow-up, too, so just keep that in mind.
Someone dead that I want to sit down with and have a dinner with. See, that's my problem with these kind of questions is I'm always like, I got to figure out who. I only get one dead guy to bring back. Who's it going to be? It's going to take me a while to kind of figure out.
There's two living or dead questions, so you'll have another choice.
Let's go. Let's bring Elvis back. I feel like he seems like a fun guy.
Okay. Now let's go. Let's take this to the next level. Okay. If you could take the stage with anybody one time, living or dead, who would it be?
Led Zeppelin for sure. I just want to go out there and play the tambourine or something.
Cowbell.
Yeah, cowbell, tambourine, something with Led Zeppelin. That's what I want to do.
Okay, I love it. You were the first person to ever say Led Zeppelin. I applaud you for that, sir.
Am I the first person to say tambourine?
No, yes, actually, you are.
Want to dance with tambourine on stage? Let them do their thing.
You went all the way around.
Good.
Okay, this is this is another one of my new ones. So, what is your spirit animal and why?
Armadillo. I don't know. It just, I see them everywhere. I work everywhere. I'm on the road a lot. I'm constantly seeing a bunch of armadillos. So I always, and I have a tattoo on my arm of an armadillo playing a banjo, and
Right
wearing a cowboy hat and playing the banjo in a little patch of blue bonnets. So definitely an armadillo.
And we're actually getting armadillos up here now. It's kind of crazy.
Really? Congratulations.
Yeah, armored possums. I'm like, they're here to protect all their possum brethren.
Uh-huh.
Keep everybody from eating them. Okay. A song or band that you are really stuck on right now.
Right now. Ooh, okay. I hate to say like cliche answers, but I've been stuck on Tyler Childers and Culture Wall and those kind of guys. But another band that I got stuck on last year that I still just, when I hear their album, I just blare it. Nathaniel Ratliff and the Night Sweats.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Just everything they got with the horns and stuff. Every time anything theirs comes on, I'm like, oh, I'm going to listen to this 3 times.
It's great.
Yeah.
I still say I still blast that. What is it? Give me a drink. Or,
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, son of a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If that song doesn't move you, something's wrong with you.
That song makes your blood boil right there. You're like,
It really
let's
does.
do it.
Let's go. Let's just get drunk and make bad decisions.
Yes.
It's Thursday.
Wow.
All right, Steve. What is your all-time favorite book?
Oh, favorite book. I started reading a bunch of rockumentary books, kind of deal, like autobiographies from rock stars. I got B.B. King's book. That was really good. I got, I'm looking at my case right now. I got Greg Allman.
I bet that one's great.
One. I have Slashes up there. I have, my favorite one is Ozzy's, though. I don't know if you've read that one or not. It's called I Am. As far as those style books, that one is great. It's just a bunch of stories from him in the back in the day. Like, they rented out mansions for like 6 months in the Hollywood Hills, and they weren't allowed to leave the mansion. They were just supposed to make music and sit in this thing and order whatever they wanted, from women to drugs to chicken sandwiches or whatever. And there's just tons of stories like that. That's great.
I, as a lifetime Kiss fan, I read Gene Simmons's, and I got to say, it just pissed me off.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Because the more I learned about his mindset on a lot of things, I'm just like, come on, this Ron Jeremy's was better.
Yeah.
I mean, because he just, I don't know. I guess because he just, everything was to make money.
Right. Everything with him.
Everything. I mean, that's why they had toilet paper and, coffins and you name it. You can get a Kiss version of it these days.
He's the best at it. I've never once figured out how to make money yet, but he figured it out.
Right. I mean, if we could all kind of tap into that, I think we would all be doing great.
I need to read that book. That's probably the next one I get.
There you go. I mean, it's worth reading, even if it'll piss you off. I mean, It's worth reading because, I mean, there's a lot of interesting stories and everything in there too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's his backstory about, coming over to this country and, really not knowing anything. And, okay, the only way I'm going to get girls is to play music. And then it evolved and went from there.
Right. Yeah, he was very calculated. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to check it out. I'll have to look at this book.
All right. What was the first record you either picked out for yourself or bought for yourself?
Yep. Like a actual record, like a vinyl, or
well, it could be vinyl or CD or cassette or, dare I say. I don't think you're old enough to have gone back to 8 tracks yet. So
no, but I do got a pretty sweet vinyl collection. But my my aunt passed away, and I got a whole lot of vinyls at once for my very first vinyl. I got like tons of them. So, but my very first record that I got whenever I was a kid was I had two of them that I can recall. One of them I definitely bought with my mother's money. Was the Kid Rock album that had him flipping them off on the front of it.
Yep.
I had that one, and then I had the Eminem album with the Vicodin on the front that was broke open, or whatever that was, or the Valium, or whatever that was that he had broke open the front of it that had that. Hi, my name is what? My name is who? Yeah, like back in the
Slim
day.
Shady.
That was exactly right. And then Soul Gravy by Cross Canadian Ragweed was the one after that.
Man, I love those guys.
Yeah, they're great.
I mean, see, that's my
I got
problem.
Soul Gravy at Cavenders.
Yeah, I was just born in the wrong area of the country because all the bands and everything I've ever really loved are all from either Texas or Oklahoma. So, maybe I'm meant to.
A lot of good ones that came out of there for sure over the years.
Yeah, maybe I'm just meant to be out that way. Actually, we're going to Texas in March, so I'm looking forward to that.
What are you coming out here for? Visiting?
No, my wife has got a conference or something to go do.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, okay, in San Antonio. So
okay.
I'm like, okay. I said, I'm going. Maybe I'll just go with you this time.
You should. There's plenty to do, man.
And I'm like, I'm just going to go with the plan of, booking as many interviews and talking to as many people. So my whole trip's probably going to be, drinking Lone Stars and going to every bar I can to talk to musicians.
Right.
Because
you're about an hour and a half, I think, or so from 6th Street on Austin, which is everybody to be up there. And then there's going to be tons of local people around San Antonio who kill it. 2 tons of steels out of there. We just played with somebody else from there the other day. The Powell brothers, I think, are from San Antonio too. 2 tons, if you haven't looked them up, that'd be the people you need to check out for sure.
Okay.
They're a rockabilly, Texas swing kind of band.
love it.
They kill it. And I'll send you some other stuff whenever you're going to come down or whatever. I'll send you some places you can't miss places.
Hey, please do, because I've got a buddy of mine from Mexico that's like, okay, this is where you go eat.
Yeah,
And
I can definitely see where to eat anywhere.
He said, and you don't go eat where the tourists go eat. That you're going to go to this place, and this place.
Yeah, well, good.
He said, because that's authentic and that's real.
It's good to have somebody in there who knows.
You got that no, right? Because, my wife's been several times, and she's like, oh, yeah, I go, you always go, Riverwalk, and that's where you eat and do this and I'm like, yeah, everybody's telling me stay away from there. Stay away from the tourists. You need to go over here.
Yeah, but it's definitely the tourist part. But yeah, that whole part of the country or the state is great in my opinion. Hill Country's right there, and we just got back from New Braunfels, which is, like I said, about an hour and a half or something like that from there, and we went down and played a little songwriter festival on the river, on the San Marcos River.
Oh, but that was awesome, wasn't it?
Killer. It was 3 days, and there was just songwriters from 4 p.m. till about 4 a.m. every single day.
Wow. So it's kind of like a little mini Medicine Stone.
It was awesome. We camped out. I brought my camper. We just got a camper not too long ago. I brought it, and we hooked it up, and we sat in the river and fold out chairs and up to our waist and just got drunk and listened to people sing songs from about, 200 yards away up on a little stage up there. And then whenever it was my turn to play, I just went up there and played my set and then got back in the river. So
I love it. Man, you can't get any better than that, really.
Great weekend.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so what was your first concert?
Leonard Skinner and Kid Rock. And it was with my grandmother. She took me, and it was her idea, and she wanted to see Kid Rock, and I did not. I thought I was over Kid Rock by then, and I wanted to see Leonard Skinner. So I said, okay, we'll go. And then she took me to the Woodlands Amphitheater, and we parked and walked about 7 miles and got to the gate, went through there, and watched Kid Rock and Leonard Skinner. And I bought a $35 T-shirt.
Right. Sounds like your grandma was a badass.
She was pretty damn cool, yeah. She used to listen to Little Troy and SPM and just all kinds of whatever I was listening to, she'd listen to. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay,
cool.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
My man. Okay, do you have a life philosophy or a personal mantra?
I don't have a life philosophy or a personal mantra, but lately I've been trying to develop something along those lines, you know, and I'm trying to figure out what that might be. You know, like, do you have one?
I've got mine. Mine is constantly evolving, but I can tell you, several of my buddies have all adopted this one. It's just be good to people and don't be a dick. And I'm like, you know, and one of them texted me this afternoon because his show's coming out in 2 weeks. And he's like, okay, you know, blah, 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 you know, here, I sent you a couple of new tracks and everything. He goes, and then I said, okay, great. I said, hey, don't be a dick. And I just, you know, man, thanks for reminding me of that. I got to remember to tell more people that.
Right. I think that's definitely a good motto. I try to kind of live my life that way. Don't step on any toes, and as long as you're doing your thing over there in the corner, and you're fine. You know what I mean? As long as you're not messing with anybody else, and don't be a dick.
See, there you go. We ought to start a hashtag, and let's see hashtag don't be a dick, and let's see how far across the country we can make that happen. I bet it goes viral.
I would wear the shirt for sure.
I would wear the shirt too, and I'm going to light it up on the Twitter sphere.
Hell yeah.
Okay, one song. I don't care how many times you've heard it in your life. If it comes on the radio or on a playlist, that volume is going up because that's just your jam.
Man, one song.
I know there's a lot, but
I really like depressing music, you know.
Well, I do too. I like dark.
I like all these sad songs, you know. So it's not like I don't know that I got jam. I definitely have songs that I will just crank up and just jam. Decoration Day by Jason Isbell.
Okay.
There's a couple moments in there. Danko Emmanuel by Jason Isbell's another one that there's some peaks in those songs that are like just rocking, you know, they'll just crescendo all the way to the top, and I'll jam those and stuff. But
and so I'll jam We Were Vampires.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I like, every now and then I'll get a good, you know, gin and juice or something will come on and I'll crank it up or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not. It's old school. Okay. This is going to be probably your favorite one to answer.
Okay.
Who besides you guys should people be listening to or paying attention to right now?
Oh, man, I do got a ton of answers, okay?
Okay, bring it.
Let's see. I got some buddies that are from about 12 miles from here, some hillbillies, and they live in the woods, and their band is called Pushwater, and they do a lot of 4-part harmony stuff, and it's all original music, Americana kind of stuff, and it's a family band. They're pretty cool. My buddy Mondo Salas lives up in Fort Worth. He's doing some Americana stuff. He's from Del Rio, Texas, over in West Texas. Let's see here. Heather Little, she wrote some Miranda Lambert songs. She's an amazing songwriter. Michael O'Neill, and there's just a ton. There's so many, and then there's all these other like bands that are obviously kind of getting popular across Texas right now. And you know, let's see here. Trying to think like Copper Chief. I don't know if you know who those guys are not. Just there's tons of great music out there. If you just type in Texas music scene, Zach Wilkerson, Jamie Lynn Wilson, there's tons of.
I've heard Jamie Lynn.
Jamie Lynn is amazing. She's a freaking songbird. And Zach, he just did some stuff with Texas music scene, and Zach Wilkerson, he's got some pipes on him too. Another band, it's a rock band, buddies of mine called Blacktop Mojo. If y'all never heard of those guys, they're a rock band. They tour all across the U.S. and they're from right here in East Texas. And they kick ass.
Well, and then, you know, the greatest band that ever came out of Texas that way was Pantera. So
Pantera, yeah. Absolutely.
Mean, you can't be from Texas and not appreciate that, right?
That's right. I'll be headed to Deep Ellum next week. So
oh, awesome.
Uh-huh.
Okay, tell everybody where they can find your music.
Sure.
And, you know, give out all where they can find you on social medias.
Okay. Yeah, all of my handles are at Steve Idlett, just the one word, at Steve Idlett, Idlett. And then at the Briars Music for all of the band stuff. And also have a podcast It's called Made in Texas, and it's at Made in TX Pod. So, and it's only got one episode up right now, and it's with that guy I told you about a while ago, Mondo Salas. And I just went to his place in Fort Worth, and we just ate tacos and hung out and talked about what it was like growing up in Delray. He's a cool guy, so you also check out his music too. And
I will for sure.
And yeah, just look us up and follow along. And if we're ever out where y'all are at, come catch a show. Hopefully,
Definitely. Would love to have you guys in South Carolina. So if
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, people would love you guys, seriously. And I mean, because like I said, the whole the red dirt, the Texas red dirt thing is coming over. I mean, there's a whole scene that's developing as red dirt North Carolina and everything, because there's such a deep appreciation for what you guys are doing. And then
huge over there, right? That's Raleigh,
Yeah.
Do you listen to those? Or have you? Or?
American Aquarium?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've done everything but, send the letter and blood to try to get BJ on my show.
Oh, I got you, yeah.
Because I would
over there, I guess, huh?
What's that?
Or said I guess that's part of that scene or that movement over there in the Carolinas, or
well, them I mean, there are so many people. Somebody you need to check out is my buddy Justin Clyde Williams.
Okay.
You will not be disappointed. I mean, his original stuff is phenomenal. He does a cover of Pancho and Lefty, and you would think that he actually wrote the song himself.
Awesome.
But
yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
His version he does a really I'm gonna slip my wrists version of Billy Idol's Rebel Yell.
Really?
It's just him on an acoustic guitar. Pull it up on YouTube.
I
tell everybody that because this guy is phenomenal. But that song, I mean, if it doesn't turn you on to his music, nothing ever will.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah.
I mean, I just love music, so
I'd love to get over there. Texas is so, we have so much industry here as far as music.
Yeah.
That it's a big scene here, But I was just talking to the guys the other day about I know there's all this stuff throughout the rest of the country. There's got to be people who want to hear this kind of music, like roots, Americana, that kind of music, but just trying to figure out where those places are.
Detroit.
Texas.
You think I'm kidding? I'm telling you, Detroit.
Really?
My friend Jennifer Westwood, who's actually out your way on tour. It's Jennifer Westwood and the Handsome Devils. She's out there. I mean, she's Americana and kind of honky tonk. And she's out of Detroit. I mean, born and raised. And, she's playing this music. You've got Dallas Moore, he kind of splits his time in Ohio and Texas. And, they're all friends with her husband actually was Whitey Morgan's original guitarist.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, there's a huge scene that I would have never thought that, Detroit was into country or red dirt or anything, but they love it. And oddly enough, France.
I know it. Yeah, we get messages sometimes from France on Instagram and stuff. They're like, "We love you." I'm like, "Thanks."
Yeah, I mean, the second highest demographic listening to my show is from France and Paris.
Oh, well, oui.
And
what's up?
I'm and we've got a friend that he's this well known writer, and he's from just in the hills here, and they love him in France. So I messaged him one day, and I'm like, dude, I just found out that I got the second highest percentage of listeners in France. He goes, they love country music. They love old school honky tonk, just that old American music. He said, they just love it. And I'm like, man, I would love nothing more. You go to Paris, France, and you go walking by and you hear Hank Williams singing. I mean, come on. That would not, if that wouldn't just make your day. I don't know. What else could, what could you say? That would be about a perfect day.
I know it. We've been trying to plan some kind of little UK thing just because it's a little bit more compact and it'd be easy to just go straight from like London up to, like Glasgow or somewhere like that. And it's like
Or
10
Edinburgh.
hours from the bottom to the top. And that's nothing. I mean, we can drive like 14 hours in Texas and still be in Texas, and then it's like, so 10 hours and we get to cross 2 countries basically over there. And we're going to try to do something like that pretty soon if we can muster up enough, I guess, reason why to go,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
It's going to take some planning to make it actually happen though.
Well, then when you guys jump back over, just make a beeline through South Carolina, and I'll try to help get you guys booked everywhere I can.
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
For real,
maybe we'll just drive over that way one day and just route ourselves there and back or something.
Hey man, why not? I mean, I've got friends that could kind of put you in touch with somebody in just about every state along the way to
That'd be
have
awesome.
somewhere to play. So
We've been looking we've been playing these bars in Texas, and there's so many of them, but we also kind of want to just get our brand out there a little bit and go see some other places and go meet some other folks too, and that'd be pretty cool to set up one day. So.
yeah, definitely. We'll definitely stay in touch about that. But
cool.
we'll go ahead and end the show part of this. So,
Sure.
folks, go out, check out the Briars, check out Steve's music and everything. You guys will not be disappointed, and definitely, get out there, keep supporting local music and local musicians and independent artists everywhere. And enjoy this episode, and I will catch you next time.